Cuba is denying it has provided any sort of foreign spying from the island just 90 miles from the United States. This follows reports that China gathers intelligence from facilities on the island, including allegations of listening devices and other high-tech eavesdropping equipment. Patrick Oppman has the story.
Are these antennas on a Cuban military base evidence of a secret Chinese spying facility on an island just 90 miles from the coast of the United States? Or are U.S. allegations of a spy base here, as Cuban and Chinese officials say, simply Cold War-era saber-rattling? The White House initially dismissed reports of increased Chinese spying capabilities from Cuba as not accurate, but then made a partial about-face, saying those upgrades occurred but before President Biden took office.
In fact, based on the information we have, the PRC conducted an upgrade of its intelligence collection facilities in Cuba in 2019.
Cuban officials deny there is any kind of foreign base spying on the U.S. from their island.
The assertions made by the U.S. Secretary of State about the presence of a Chinese spy base in Cuba are false, totally false.
The U.S. threw up a steel fence prepared to stop.
More than 60 years ago, nuclear missiles that the USSR secretly dispatched to Cuba pushed the world to the brink of annihilation. The U.S. placed a naval blockade on Cuba, and the Soviets withdrew their missiles. For years, the USSR operated a spy base the size of a small town called Lourdes on the outskirts of Havana. Now abandoned, Lourdes is a falling down relic of the Cold War. Russia still periodically sends a spy ship to resupply in Cuba before it travels just off the U.S. coast to intercept electronic intelligence, according to U.S. officials.
Not at all.
In 2015, I reported in front of the Victor Leonov when the spy ship docked in Havana's harbor, just as the U.S. sought to restore diplomatic relations with Cuba.
Usually a place where you see tourists walking around snapping photos of old cars, and here instead we've got a Russian spy ship. You can see on the Victor Leonov satellite dishes, antennas, lots of high-tech equipment.
And for years, U.S. officials have assessed China listens in on U.S. communications from this military base near the small town of Bejucal. Signs saying military zone line the barbed wire fence that surround the base. Some of the base's antennas are painted green and blend into the foliage, but are still visible from nearby hilltops and via satellite. Having a spy base so close to the U.S. would provide foreign adversaries key advantages, analysts say.
Tremendously more valuable to have a permanent station. You can put a lot more capabilities there. You can outfit it over time, and you're just collecting tremendous amounts. And remember, this data likely, it's probably going to be encrypted. It's probably going to be coded in other ways. And so you're going to need the data for a while.
U.S. diplomats say they're working on dissuading Cuba from helping adversaries like China and Russia, who allege the U.S. intercepts their communications as well. As each country vies for an advantage in this unfolding spy game, it does not appear anyone is backing down. Patrick Oppman, CNN, Bejucal, Cuba.